helped establish the Canadian prototype for the YWCA, plus the National Council of Women, plus the Victorian Order of Nurses. Another idea, if doctors can't go and see patients who are sick in their homes, can't we send a nurse? She was also a legal expert, though not a lawyer, but lawyers often contacted her for her opinion on the laws as they pertain to women and children. And the last and probably the best known member of the famous five was Nellie McClung. So Nellie led the campaign in Winnipeg to get women the right to vote and the right to run for office. And her opponents said things like, if women get the right to vote, the children will be hungry, the house will be dirty, and the husbands, wink, wink, won't be satisfied because you'll be too busy voting, you'll be too busy involved in public affairs. And in fact, they even burnt Nellie in effigy. Nellie had a husband who was a pharmacist, and he liked to move to different areas. So after they achieved the victory in Winnipeg, he must have come home one day and said, Nellie, I'd like to go to Edmonton. Oh, said Nellie, okay. So they moved to Edmonton, and she runs in the next provincial election and is elected as a Liberal MLA. Then he says, I think I'd like to move down to Calgary. Oh, Nellie says, oh, okay. And they move to Calgary, and she runs in the next provincial election, but unfortunately, she is defeated. The major reason being Albertans decided they wanted to drink alcohol and have access to alcohol whenever, wherever, and that wasn't for Nellie. But as you know, when one door closes, another opens. And Nellie continues to write. She's a very well-known author, and she gets appointed to the board of the CBC. And once she is there, she starts to advocate that the women at the CBC be able to do all the different jobs, not just be the assistant to the producer or the assistant to the on-air talent or the assistant to the manager, but they do everything. And also, she said all government boards and even corporate boards should have women on them. What was the year? 1936. Well, the famous five were successful with their Persons Case initiative. And on October 18, 1929, Canadian women were declared persons and eligible to sit in the Senate. Unfortunately, none of the famous five became senators. But in 2009, the famous five became honorary senators. And they were probably the first and only Canadians that will ever enjoy that title. Like the famous five, it's up to us. They're dead. They've done their bit. We're here. It's over to us. It's incumbent upon all of us to dream big and to act honorably. That's what Louise McKinney often said. And we must do this despite our imperfections, the mistakes we make, and the fears that we have that we're not good enough. And we had quite a conversation about how women tend to feel we're not good enough. Annie Gale struggled to become Canada's first female city councillor. It happened right here in Calgary in 1917. What I'm waiting for is two things. One, I want Calgary to have a female mayor. Don't you think it's time? Thank you. And we have 15 members of our Calgary City Council. Currently, how many are women? 3. Pretty puny. So here's one of my challenges to you. This fall, there's going to be a municipal election. And you could run. And you could win. No? So how wonderful it would be if at least half the city councillors were female and we had a female mayor. So what's happening in the corporate world? As was mentioned in the WXN video, statistics after statistics show that companies exceed on all qualifications, even profitability, when their leadership team mirrors the population or mirrors their customer or their client base. So in 2004, Shell appointed the first female president of a major energy company. What was her name? Yay, Linda Cook. And then smart old Shell ensured that they would continue to succeed and appointed a second woman to be president in 2009. What was her name? Or what is her name? Oh, that's so exciting. Lorraine Mitchell-Moore. You know her. And yes. Is she here tonight? Because she is a Oh, Lorraine, stand, stand. That's why you knew the name, Lorraine. Well, Lorraine was named a WXN 100 Most Powerful Women in 2010, and I'm really thrilled you're here, Lorraine. Thank you. So another question. Who are the other female presidents of energy companies in Calgary? Sue Riddell Rose, and her company is Perpetual Energy, formerly Paramount. Who's another female president? Okay, not particularly energy, but that's a good one too. Dawn Farrell of TransAlta. Pardon me? Says, I think, Leslie O'Donoghue from Agrium. Right. Well, Calgary's WXN members have excelled in breaking down barriers and also in terms of bringing other women along with them. When she was at Petro-Canada for many years, the wonderful Kathy Sendall built a distinguished career and helped many women achieve their dreams within the corporate field. And Kathy, of course, was the first woman to lead, to be elected to CAP, the Canadian Association of Petroleum Producers. And sitting at my table is Bonnie DuPont. Yay, Bonnie. Bonnie was the first female president of the Petroleum Club, another key breakthrough for us. And luckily for us, we're going to hear her speak tonight too. So Bonnie, thank you very much and congratulations. Last year, 3 of the 5 major post-secondary institutions had female leaders. And their names are? Oh, this is wonderful. There's so many different names I couldn't really hear. So I think somebody said Elizabeth Cannon. She's U of C. Irene Lewis, from who? Say? Sharon Carey, Bow Valley College. So that's pretty exciting. So they were the firsts. Bonnie was the first president of the Petroleum Club. Kathy was the first president of CAP. Firsts are nice, and firsts are very important, but who's the third? Who's the fifth? Who's the 85th? The other day, I was thrilled because I love CPAC and I love CNN, and I was watching the inauguration of John Kerry as the new U.S. Secretary of State. And he said, when he got up to speak, I need to clarify something, first of all, before I talk about some other policies. Because I know everybody here is asking, after the stellar leadership provided by Condoleezza Rice and by Hillary Clinton, the question is, can a man do this job? Yes, the answer is yes. But how nice that they do it, a man and a woman, both can do it. So leadership and victories come in a variety of different forms. And recently, an extraordinary young Calgarian led a group of volunteers to success. 4 years ago, the Calgary Catholic School Board was told by the bishop that grade 5 girls were not to receive the publicly funded, the publicly approved HPV vaccine because it would make them promiscuous. And I always wondered, with whom are these grade 5 girls having sex? Like, why wasn't the bishop worried about the boys? Anyway, the board agreed with them. This independently, democratically elected board agreed with them and then refused to debate the issue for 4 blinking years. Well, Juliette Guichon, a medical ethicist, an assistant professor at the University of Calgary, and now a newly published author, persevered, and a couple of months ago persuaded the Catholic School Board to override the bishop and agree that grade 5 girls and also the girls that had been missed in the 4 years should receive the HPV vaccine. Juliette Guichon, please stand. And she's not done. There are 11 other Catholic school boards in Canada, many of them in Alberta, and Juliette's on their case. So here's to all of us realizing our dreams. Here's to all of us being as best and as big as we can, to contributing to the building of Canada, to the contributing to the success of our companies, to our communities, to our families, to being us, to being who we were meant to be. And I'm sure there are a number of you here tonight that are trying to decide, should I apply for that promotion? Should I take that offer? Should I change jobs? Should I change careers? Should I take a course? My advice is take the risk. Do it. Move yourself out of your comfort zone. Try something different, something new. Even if you have to start by once a week going to and fro work in a different way. Break the habit. Stay open to new adventures. Go to the light. Help someone else. The more you open up, the more you help, the more you can do. As a way of reinforcing this idea and inspiring you to continue to succeed, I'd like you to learn the Famous Five Foundation pledge. The pledge is this, simple. I feel equal to high and splendid braveries. I want you to embrace this quote and to really understand it and to really treasure it so that it can strengthen you, it can comfort you, and it can enable you to be you and to really go out there and make a change. So say it with a different emphasis. You could say it, I feel equal to high and splendid braveries. Or, I feel equal to high and splendid braveries. Or, I feel equal to high and splendid braveries. Who knew? You know? You don't know till you get into it and you really believe there is more of you and more to give and more to achieve. So I'm going to say the praise first, and then I'm going to ask you to repeat it. So shoulders back. Deep breath in and out. You're ready to take this pledge in front of 300 people. And I'm watching. So I'll say the first half of the phrase first and ask you to repeat it. And then I'll say the second half and ask you to repeat it. Then you'll say it together with me. And then guess what? You're on your own. So, I feel equal.
I feel equal.
To high and splendid braveries.
To high and splendid braveries.
Let's say it together. I feel equal to high and splendid braveries. Okay, shoulders back. Deep breath. I'm going to count down to 5. And then in a strong, clear voice, state your objective. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I feel equal to high and splendid braveries.
Okay, I think we just need a little more. Okay, shoulders back. Shoulders back. Deep breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I feel equal to high and splendid braveries.
Terrific. The legacy of the Famous Five is in you. Hooray!